This is the MCS-23, that is the database management system. The introduction of the database management system. Now I will share my files. That is the database management system. What are we have covered in this class? What is database management system? Difference between database and DBMS, database management system. Why use a DBMS? Purpose of DBMS and DBMS, some important terms which are used in database management system, and what are the data models are used in the database management system, architecture and different layers or level of the DBMS architecture, components, advantages, disadvantages, and database management system language. What are the language through which we can query? These are this part we will cover in this class. What is database management system? The database management system, this combined two words, one is database, another one is management system. The two words are combined, that is database, another one is management. How to manage the database? That is the management. That is the what is the definition of the database, then what is the management system. Combine both, we get the database management system. What is database? Database is a collection of interrelated data of an enterprises. Database is a collection of interrelated data. My voice is audible to all? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am.
My voice is audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you see the screen? You can see the screen. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A database management system, first we know what is database. Database is a collection of interrelated data of an enterprises, that is called database. Management, a set of application program through which we can access, update, manage the data, that is called management system. Combine both, that is called database management system. Okay. Then difference between data, database and DBMS. Data, the collection of related facts and figure is called data. The collection of related facts and figure is called data. Database, the collection of interrelated data of an enterprises is called database. Database management system, that is a set of program, means that is set of program used for specific purpose, that is called software. Then software, the database management system is a software to maintain the database through which we can access, update, delete, all these things. We can manage the database, that is called database management system. Then why use a DBMS? The some advantages why use database management system. First one is the data independence and efficient access. Data independence means there is the three level of architecture in database management system. The one level with any change in one level that does not affect the other level. That is called the data independence. Means the independence between the two levels or two layers. That is called data independence. And efficient access. Efficient access means once the user log in into the database, they can access the data from the central database management system or distributed database management system. And there is a query language SQL which allows to access the data efficiently. Then reduce to application development time. Reduce application development time because all the data are available in database management system. We can access the data and easily so that we can develop the application and reduce the it takes less time. If we can all the data are not available, we can source the data and find out the data, then again develop a data application, it takes more time. Then data integrity and security. Data integrity means to maintain the when the data is changed, when the data at the time of updation, after updation, to maintain the integrity means there is no any change at the time of updation. Anybody cannot access the data. That is the atomic city property of the database management system. To maintain the data integrity and security, there is a security that anyone cannot access the data. There is a permission to access the data, which part a user can access the data if that user has its own has its own accessing capability. Then take the permission and then access the data. Then uniform data administration. Uniform data administration means data administration uniformly data and the different part of the data are stored. In that case, the at a time the number of user can access that data, and that data access can be controlled by the data administrator. Then concurrent access recovery from crashes. Concurrent access at a time number of user can access the data, that is concurrent access. And recovery from crashes. Recovery if the data are deleted or any cause, any failure of the database management system, that can be easily recovered from crashes. Maybe a distributed database, the different recovery technique in database management system through which we can recover the data. Then the purpose of database management system. First one is the data redundancy and inconsistency. Data redundancy means duplicacy. And same information may be duplicated in several places. All copies may not be updated properly. Why we use the data in a database? The data stored in the different location. The same data is stored again and again, may be duplicated in several places. This type of problem can be solved by the database management system through the normalization. All copies may not be updated properly at the time of updation. So the data are stored in different places. It is not easy to update properly. If the data is not updated properly, then there is duplicacy. There may be a wrong data stored. Suppose the mark of a student are stored in one place is 60%, then another place maybe after updation maybe 80%. This type of problem may be arises in database, so it can be solved through the database management system. Difficulty in new program to carry out each new task. Difficulty in new program. the database are got a homogeneous database and heterogeneous database are there. Heterogeneous means the database, homogeneous means all the database contains same type of data, same type of application program to use that to manage that data. But in case of heterogeneous, the different applications are used to access or managing the data. So that difficulty in new program to carry out each new task. Data isolation. Data isolation means the data in different format, difficult to write new application program, files and formats. The data may be stored in a distributed database system. Data may be stored or also in centralized system. The data is stored in the database in a different formats. That is, uh, the different users use different application program, and the data are used and updated in different techniques. That is stored in the database in different format. That is very difficult to write the new application program to access that data. And different file and different formats are used by the user to store that data. This is the purpose of database management system. Then some terms are used in database management system. First one is the schema. Schema means the design. Design of the database is called schema. Then physical schema, the design of database as physical level is called the physical schema. What is the different level? I will discuss in the next slide or after that. Then physical schema, the physical part of the database design, that is called physical schema. Logical schema, the design of a database at logical level. Then instance, the values of data within database in a particular moment. At a particular moment, what are the value of the data in database, that is called instance. Then data independence, the capability to make changes at one level without affecting the another level is called data independence. In the first or second slide, already I have discussed the data independence. Data independence means one level of the database architecture having three levels, and if any change in one level, that does not affect in other levels. The next lower level, that is called data independence. Then physical data independence, the capability to make changes at physical level without affecting the logical level. The three level of data three level in database abstraction. One is physical level, logical level and view level. If any data independence means if any change in physical level that does not affect the logical level. Then physical data independence, that is the any change in physical level that does not affect the logical level. And logical data independence, if any change in logical level that does not affect the view level. That is the two types of data independence. One is physical data independence, another one is logical data independence. Data independence is you heard. Now, if any change in one level that does not affect the other level. The physical level data independence, the physical data independence is that if any change at physical level without affecting the logical level. The logical data independence, if any change at logical level without affecting the view level. This is the data independence. The three levels of abstraction, one is physical schema, conceptual schema and view schema. Three level, physical level, logical level, view level. View level, this is the figure, then database, then physical level, then conceptual level or logical level, then view level. Then view level describe how users see the data, how the user access the data, that is called view level. And conceptual or logical level, which define the logical structures. Logical structure means what are the data stored in the database. That is the conceptual schema. Physical schema describes the files and index use, means how the data are stored. Physical level define how the data is stored. Logical level define what the data is stored. And view level how the users access or use that data or see the data. This is the three level of abstraction. Okay. This is the data independence. Already we have discussed what is data independence. Data independence, if any change in one level, that does not affect the other level. That is the logical data independence and physical data independence. The protection from changes in logical structure. Physical data independence, protection from changes in physical structure. But already we have discussed the definition of the logical data independence and the physical data independence. Why particularly important for DBMS? Because databases and their associated application persist. The logical level data independence or physical or data independence is important for database management system because the database and their associated application persist. This is the architecture of the database management system. The first two paragraph is define the when the database management system are developed, which organization is developed this and which conference. All these things are mentioned. Means it only proposal for standard terminology and general architecture database. A system was produced in 1971 by the Database Task Group appointed by the Conference on Data System and Languages. Okay, there are actually the architecture of database management system has three levels. One is external level, another one is conceptual level, third one is internal level. External level, conceptual level, and internal level. Three architecture of the database management system. This is the figure. The data is stored in the database, and first internal level means the external level, and one another one is conceptual level. Okay, the external level, in this level, the user directly communicate with the database through the external level or view level. Then conceptual level, what are the data are stored? All these things are arranged in a proper way. That is the conceptual schema and design. The design, how what the data, what are the data are stored in the database. All these things are mentioned in the conceptual schema. Then internal schema, the physically how the data are stored in the database, that is the physical or internal schema. The levels or layer of database architecture. External level is described by a schema that it consists of definition of logical records and relationship in external view. Definition of logical records means what the data are stored in which manner, that is explained in the external level, and what are the relation between them. Between them means the relation between the logical records. It is mentioned in the external level. Then conceptual level. The conceptual level describe the records and relationship included in the conceptual view. Conceptual view means what are the data stored. What are the data stored, that is mentioned in conceptual view. External view, how the user access that data and see the data, what is the relation between that, how the user access, that is the external view. Conceptual view, what are the data or what are the records are stored and what are the relationship between that, that is mentioned in the conceptual level. And internal level will be stored and how the data or records are stored and how what are the methods are used to access that data, that is physically explained in the internal level. This is the three level of architecture in database management system. Then data models. Data models means the hierarchical data model organizes the different types of data models are there. One is hierarchical data model. The different models of the database are there. That data model means how the database arrange the data using the different architecture. Different types of model are present to represent our database. One is the hierarchical model. In hierarchical model, the data is in a tree structure. Tree structure means there is a parent and child segments. This structure implies that a record can have repeating information generally in child data segments. Here the example is pavement improvement. This is the parent is here the pavement improvement. Then the child of that parent is the reconstruction, maintenance, and rehabilitation. Again, the maintenance is the internal road of this tree, that is the parent of the routine, corrective, and prevent, preventive. Corrective, preventive, and routine. This is the child of the maintenance. The data in a hierarchical model stored in the parent-child segments. Then hierarchical DBMS, database management system, were popular from late 1960s with the introduction of IBM information management system through the 197. Okay, this is the hierarchical model. Then network model. The network model in network model, the with the more than one parent, but in hierarchical model there is one parent and number of childs. But in case of network model, the child may be more than one parent. The network model, the popularity of the hierarchical model, some data were naturally modeled with more than one parent per child. This is the network model maintain the many to many relationship, means one parent having the number of children and number of children having the number of parents. That is the network model. Here is the example is network model, preventive maintenance, having two child with a rigid payment and flexible payment. Rigid payment and flexible payment. Then this is the rigid payment is joint spell repair and joint seal. And the file means in this case, the what is the difference between the hierarchical model and network model? In case of network model, in a hierarchical model, there is one parent and the number of childs. And in case of network model, the one child may have the number of parents. Okay, this is the difference between the network model and hierarchical model. Right side, this is the figure. Then relational model. Relational model is more important in case of database management system. That is the relational database management system that is based on developed by EF code. EF code. I have discussed the code rule in the next class. But here you know the relational database management system developed by EF code. A relational database allows the definition of data structure, storage, and retrieval operations and integrity constraints. The relational database allows the definition of data structure. Definition of data structure means what is data structure? Data structure is that to store the data and define the operation to access the data, to manipulate that data, that is called data structure. Then storage and retrieval operation. What are the operation? Storage operation and what are the retrieval operation? And maintaining the integrity constant. Integrity means to state change the data. If the data change from one state to another state, to maintain the integrity, jaha ଅଛି ସେଟାକୁ maintain କରିବ. That is the relational database allows the definition of data structure, storage and retrieval operation and integrity constraint. In such a database, the data and relations between them are organized in a table. Relational database, all the data are stored or represented in a table format. Table is a collection of records and each record in a table contains some fields. Table is a collection of record. Each record contains the number of fields. This is the relational model. What are the difference between hierarchical network and relational model? Hierarchical model, one to many or one to one relation. Means one to many or one to one relation means one to many means one parent, number of children. Or one to one means one parent and one children. That is the one to one and or one to many relationship between the parent and child based on parent child relationship. Parent child relationship is there. Retrieve algorithms are complex and asymmetric. To access the data or retrieve the data using the number of algorithms are there, it is very complex and asymmetric. There is no symmetric relation. Then that data redundancy is more because the one parent and one child, suppose uh, students is a parent node or parent, then the different branch of the students, different branch, MCS students, MBA students, this is the child of, in this case, the roll number of each student, roll number name is duplicate or redundancy are there. Then network model, many to many relationship means one child have many parents or many childs, means one parent have many childs. This is the many to many relationship. Many parents as well as many children. Retrieve algorithms are complex and symmetric. Data redundancy is more because the number of connection between many parents have many childs, many childs have many parents. That is, so there is the data duplicacy is more. Then relational model, one to one, one to many to many relationship. Relational model, one parent, one, all the facility of the hierarchical model and the network model both are present in the relational model. Means one to one parent, one child, one parent, many child, many parent, many child relationship are possible in case of relational model. Based on relational data structure means the all the data are stored in the format of table. Then retrieve algorithms are simple and symmetric. Data redundancy is less. These are the difference between the different model of the database management system. Then another data model is object-oriented model. Object database management system added the functionality to object programming language. Object programming language, what do you mean by object? You know anything about object? My voice is audible to all? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You know what is object? What is object, you know? Any idea
Object is
about object?
the data in a table.
Data in
In a table.
table. Okay. Our programming, object oriented programming, you know what is the procedure oriented programming and object oriented programming?
Object oriented programming is about uh, its main focus is keeping the data and its method inside a
When focus on the data, that is the object oriented
yeah.
programming. But procedure oriented, when what are the procedure are used when there is no importance of the data. Okay. Then object oriented programming or object oriented database management system add the functionality to object programming language. There is programming language is included in object database management system that is easy to manage and persistent, more persistent data storage stored in the database using the programming language, object oriented programming language, to access that data. The major benefits of this approach is to unification of the application and database development into a seamless data model and language environment. Unification of application and database development. Unification of the database application means what? Unification of application. Unification means what? What do you mean by unification?
Don't know, madam.
Okay. Then unification means to suppose the objective oriented model which are the data stored by the user in different format by a different user. Okay. Then that is unified. Unified means to collecting the data in a distributed database management system. Data are stored in different geographical area in different format. To collecting that data and unified. Unified means what is the exact meaning? Unified means unification means collecting the data and combine the data and available the data by the users so that user can access the data easily and understand. That is unified the application, collecting the data from different application and unified the data and stored in the database. That is the called the major benefit of the object oriented model. Then semi structured model. Semi structured model means normally it is associated with the schema. Schema means the structure of the database. Semi structured data model, the information that is normally associated with a schema is contained within the data, which is sometimes called self describing. Means this model contains the data and the design of the data, how the data is stored, that design also associated with that data. That is called semi structured data model. There is no clear separation between data and the schema. Means the suppose a database using the to store the data, and what are the design of the data also available with that data, and the degree to which it is structured depend on the application, which type of application is used, and that also mentioned with the data and the design of the database. Both are included in semi-structured data model. What are the components of the database management system? First one is hardware. Hardware means is what? Hardware means what? You know what is hardware? The physical part of the computer is called hardware. Can say range from PC to a network of computers. Hardware. Hardware means the physical part of the computer is hardware. What are the components are used in the database management system? One is hardware, another one is software. Software is the set of programs used for a specific application, that is software. Data. Data means used by the organization and a description of this data called the schema. People includes database designers, DBA, application programmer, and end users. Procedure, instruction, and rules that should be applied to the design and use of the database and database management system. This is the advantages of the database management system. Why use the database management system? Some of the drawback of the file management system, so that we use the database management system. What are the advantages? First one is controlling redundancy. Controlling redundancy means duplicacy. How to control? There is a normalization through which we can reduce the redundancy using the different normalization to reduce the redundancy through the normalization. Sharing of data. The data are shared by the multiple users by the sharing mechanism, and they are distributed database management, they are so that you can access the data from different geographical area easily, that and you can share the data between the number of users, that is the sharing of the data are available. Then data consistency means to maintain the consistency means data are stored, and when you access the data, to maintain the consistency at that time, the anybody cannot change that data. To maintain the at the time of accessing, the other user may change the update the data, but it maintain the consistency at that time when you access the data, other user cannot update that data. Integration of data. Integration means combine the data, collecting the data from different geographical area and stored in a single location. Stored in a one location. That is the integration of data. Integration constraint. Integration constraint means when the data are collected from different geographical area and stored in a single location, at that time there is a constraint. When the number of users wants to access, there is a constraint. What are the criteria the user can access the data? Constraints means some rules, rules to prevent the data. Constant means some rules. To maintaining that rule, you can access the data. Without, if you have no access permission to accessing that data, you cannot access. That is to integration constraint. Then data security, different type of security mechanism are there, so that the particular user, suppose the example of data security, suppose a department database is there, the account section is the one part of the database. The only the account section are accessed by the people who maintain that accountability, to maintain the accounts. The student cannot access the account section, or the teacher or lecturer cannot access account section. Means there is a security, there is some constraint, so that to maintain the data security. Report writers means if you access some data and there is automatically generates the reports. These are the advantages of the database management system. Then go to the second one is control over concurrency. Control over at a time. Concurrency means at a time multiple user can access the data. multiple users can access the same data at a time. That is the concurrency. Control over concurrency. To maintain the concurrency at a time, suppose you want to access some data and mark of the student and other user maybe access the number of students. All are interested to access your mark. In that case, the database management system, database administrator to control over the concurrency, there is no any problem maybe problem arise. Then backup and recovery procedures. When the data are stored in a central database management system or distributed database management system, to take to keep the backup so that if any failure occurs in a database, you can easily recover that data. That is backup and recovery procedure are there. Then data independence, you know what is data independence. There is no dependency between the two level, physical and logical level, means what the data is stored and how the data is stored. There is no any problem. Suppose physical level means how the data are stored. Suppose a student database contain roll number, name, mark, three fields, three fields of the student database. In physical level, how the data, how means roll number, then name, then mark. This is the order: roll number, name, and mark. How the data stored? First roll number, then name, then mark. In case of logical level, what data is stored? What data means roll number, type, integer, name, type character, mark, type float. And what data? Integer type data, character type data, or floating type data. The logical level describe this, and physical level describe what are the fields are present in that database. Data independence means the between the two levels there is no dependency. If suppose roll number, then mark, then name, you can keep since the place of the physical level, but it does not affect the logical level. Means the roll number is integer, type is integer, then you can change the, suppose you change the place of the name and mark, replace the mark with the name. In this case, the type of the mark is float and the character type is name. No change if you change the place. Kimba, if you change the type of the data, suppose the mark is floating type, you change into integer. There is no dependence between the physical level, no any the suppose mark is integer, then the stored in the data in the physical level, mark is the field how it is stored. This is the data independence. These are the advantages of the database management system. Then go to the disadvantages of the database management. Cost of hardware and software. The hardware and software is costly because the database management system having the more storage capacity is needed. So the hardware, maybe you take the backup, you just the external hardware, external disk, and software to maintain different uses the different type of application. Means application means different type of application software. So to maintain that software and collecting the data and maintain the unification is difficult. Not difficult, it is costly. Then cost of data conversion. Conversion means suppose you access the data from other location. That data may be in the other format. Your application is different type, and the accessing data from the other side, that user maybe uses the other application. In this case, to converting that data from that application to your application, the cost is needed. The cost of staff training means staff training is needed. Suppose use the uh, one type of model is used to store the data and again change, so to train that users of your organization to how to work in that database. So it is more need some money or to cost is more. Appointing technical staffs, because the database management store the data to backup and recovery process are there, security are there, and redundancy is there. To maintaining all this, to appointing technical, if any failure, then database may be crashed. To save that data, to maintain the number, to appointing number of technical staff to avoid the failure. Then database damage. Maybe database damage, how the database is damaged. Maybe the failure of electricity. Maybe the physical damage. Physical damage means flood or fire or virus affected. And to maintain this type of security, to maintain database damage, to save the database damage may be more problem in database management system. To avoid this, you can use the database higher level of database security, higher level of algorithms to maintain this database. Okay, and these are the database management language. What are the database management language are there? First one is data definition language. This is the SQL part. Okay, then data definition language statements are used to define the database structure or schema. The main job of the data definition language is to maintain the database structure or schema. Example, what are the commands are used in the data definition language? One is create, alter, drop, truncate, comment, and rename. Create, to create a objects in a database. To create a objects in a database. Alter, to change the structure of the database. Alter, to change means to change the field or add some field. The alternation of the structure of the database. Drop, to delete the objects from the database. Delete and drop, two types. Delete is to delete the records or the objects, but drop means permanently delete. Truncate removes all the records from a table, including all spaces allocated for the records are removed. Truncates means when you store the data in a table, the data are stored in the record format. When use the truncate command, it will remove all the records from the table, and also the space is assigned to that record or also removed. Then comment means at the time of storing the data in the data dictionary, then add some comment mean to know this database or this database or this object used for which database, to give the comments. Rename an object, change the. These are the data definition language. Then data manipulation language. Data manipulation language statements are used for managing data within schema objects. Means to manipulate the data. How to manipulate data? What are the commands are used to manipulate the data? Then select is retrieve data from a database. Data are stored in the table format and in record format when you access some data using the select command. Insert, to insert the data into the table. Insert the data into the table. Update means some table contains some data. If you want to change that data, means the mark of a student is 50. If you want to change 60 or 40, using the update command, you can change. Delete all the records from a table. The space for the records remain. Means truncate and delete difference is that truncate delete all the records and also the space assigned to that records also removed. But in case of delete, it delete all the records, but the space remains same. Merge Offset operation, insert or update. Merge offset means both the commands are combined, insert and update. Insert, if any change in the inserted data, then update. That is the merge offset. Offset. Call. Call a PLSQL or Java subprogram. In a PLSQL programming, if you want to call a function, you can use the call commands. Explain plan. Explain access path to data. The data is stored in which path, it will clearly explain the details path of that data. Lock table, control concurrency. Lock table means suppose you want to lock your table, anybody cannot access that table. In that case, you can lock that table so that the suppose a user wants to access the data, take the permission from you. That is the lock table. Okay, these are the language and the introduction part of the database management system. If any doubts, please ask me. If any doubts, please ask me. There is no any doubts. My voice is audible to all. Hello. My voice is audible to all.
Yes, madam.
If any doubt.
No, madam.
Okay. Thank you all for attending the class.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, welcome.